All right, Gary, we've been talking about what we call the place principle of mentoring. And so far we've learned that finding my place as a mentor involves praying, listening, asking good questions, and considering biblical truth with the mentee. Now, when I've done those four things, I will get to the point of wanting to offer some real help.
And now we come to the E in the place principle, which stands for encouragement.
And by encourage, what we mean is my role as the mentor is not to take responsibility for you or for your behavior, but I am there to encourage you along the right path. Let's take a look at a short video that highlights this important difference.
Morning, sweetheart.
Hi, dear.
You look like you could use another hour of sleep.
Oh, more like 2 or 3 hours. I just haven't been sleeping very well lately.
So, what's keeping you awake?
Well, I think that it's Zach coming home this weekend.
What? You always look forward to Zach coming home. When you know he's going to be here, you run around getting the house just perfect for when he arrives.
Well, I know, but this time it's different. He's coming home with a girl, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that yet.
Sweetheart, he's 23. I'm pretty sure he's ready for that.
Well, what if he's just a little too ready for that?
What do you mean?
Well, this is such a big deal, dear. What if this is the girl he wants to marry? And what if I don't like her?
What's not to like about a girl you haven't even met yet?
Well, I didn't say I wasn't going to like her, but we've worked so hard to raise Zach right. We've taken him to church since he was little. We've raised him in a Christian home and Christian education. We've done everything just right.
So, what's your point?
Well, there's a lot at stake here, Jim. What if he falls head over heels in love with a girl that doesn't share our family values? And what if she doesn't fit into the family? And what if he tries to sleep with her while they're staying at our house?
Whoa. How exactly did we get from Zach coming home with a girl for the first time to premarital sex going on upstairs?
Well, I'm not saying he's going to have sex at our house. But, well, he's a male, he's 23, he's got a girl, there's hormones raging. There's just so much that could go wrong with this whole scenario.
Okay. I agree that all those things could be true, but we also need to remember what you said just before that. We've raised Zach right, and we've tried to teach him to make wise choices. He's no longer our responsibility, sweetheart. He's an adult. We should be concerned for him, yes, but he needs to make his own choices. These decisions about a wife, a job, whatever, are between him and God now. If he asks for our advice, we can share with him what we think, but we can't live his life for him. I wouldn't have wanted my parents telling me who to marry.
I don't want to tell him who to marry. It's just that it didn't seem like it was that long ago that I was totally responsible for Zach. He was completely dependent upon everything that I did.
Sweetheart, you were and you still are a great mom. We just need to give Zach the opportunity to be responsible for himself. All we can do is let him know we love him and that we're here for him. But if we try to carry all of his burdens for him, how is he ever going to learn to carry them for himself? Does any of this make sense?
I guess it does. I know you're right. It's just so hard to let go.
That's great, Zach. That's great. That sounds like you're having a blast with that league you're playing in. Yeah. Uh-huh. So, tell me, how's the job going? Uh-huh. That's okay. That'll be okay, Zach. That's going to work itself out. You're going to get used to the job and your boss, and that's good. That's a good deal. Just keep making a good first impression every day. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, listen, speaking of first impressions, Sarah, the girl you brought home a few weekends ago, wow, she is special. You did a great job there. We are very impressed. She's such a sweetheart. Yeah. No kidding. Hey, that's great. Sounds like you guys are really hitting it off. Hey, listen, I know you got to run. Yeah. So, hey, Mom and I are just so proud of you. We're just thankful you've done a good job. You've made these great life decisions, the job, the girlfriend. Yeah. Super. That's great. Listen, we'll talk to you next week. I love you. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Did you notice in that video, Gary, how he helped her to let go of that heavy burden that she was carrying and just to realize the power of encouragement?
I did, and I think we all need to hear those encouraging words from time to time.
Yeah, it's funny to hear you say that because I know you personally and you are a gifted encourager. I don't know how else to say it other than when I'm around you, I just feel uplifted. I think that's what makes you such a good mentor. Talk to me a little bit about some of the things you've learned as an encouraging mentor.
Well, Jim, I think there is power in encouragement. In fact, in 1 Thessalonians 5:11, it says that we are to continually encourage one another and build each other up. God knew that life was going to be hard, so he told us to encourage one another. Now, I think practically speaking, what that means is helping others to see things through another, more positive perspective. It's offering hope in a situation which to them seems hopeless. I often say it's viewing the glass half full rather than half empty.
Let's watch as Dennis Rainey describes the power of encouragement.
As a mentor, one of the most powerful tools you'll be able to use in the life of another person is that of encouragement. Listen to how the Apostle Paul uses encouragement in Galatians chapter 6. He says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we don't give up." You know, life has a way of just knocking the props out from under us. We all need people to come alongside us. And when our hands grow heavy, when we lose heart, when we've lost our courage, we've lost our confidence, someone can come along and lift up our hands. Remember these ABCs. Letter A, acknowledge another person's circumstances, the challenging situation they're facing, and just come alongside them and perhaps share a similar set of circumstances that you faced and how you felt, and let them know it's okay. B, believe in them. Express your belief that they can make the right choice. And then C, when they make that choice, cheer them on. Inspire them to keep going and not lose heart in well-doing. One of the most powerful tools you'll use as a mentor in the life of another is that of encouragement.
You know, one of the things that I think I've learned personally about encouragement is that there are really different kinds of encouragements, each appropriate at the right time, aren't there?
Yes, absolutely. For example, I can encourage you to hang in there and that I'll be praying for you, or I can encourage you to make some real life changes. Both are valid forms of encouragement if given at the right time.
Right, and as we train mentors, we call this the role of an encouraging mentor, and mastering each of these distinct roles really requires a good sense of timing. Proverbs 25:11, for example, tells us that the right word at the right time is like precious gold set in silver. But Proverbs goes on to warn, a loud greeting early in the morning is the same as a curse.
That's funny, Jim. Can you imagine that person early in the morning wondering why his neighbor isn't receiving his blessing as he intended, not realizing that his timing was as important as his words? The action can be right, but if the timing is off, it can be more annoying than helpful. And I think the same is true with our words.
Okay, so tell me about some of the different roles that you've played as you've encouraged others.
Well, one way that I've encouraged someone that I'm mentoring is by just offering a compassionate tone, letting them know that I love them and that I'll be there for them to listen with an understanding and in an empathetic way.
We might call this the confidant role of a mentor, just drawing alongside that person and feeling what they've been feeling. Like it says in 1 Corinthians 12:26, if one member suffers, all suffer together. If one member is honored, all rejoice together.
Absolutely, and it's important that they know you care because that will help prepare their hearts for what you have to say.
Sometimes it's just so encouraging to have a confidant.
Well, another way that I've been able to encourage them is just asking them to step back from their current circumstances and view things from another new perspective.
And we could call that a translator role of a mentor, just translating that person's story with fresh, godly perspective. I mean, how many times have you seen someone that seems stuck in a negative frame of mind for whatever reason? Maybe they've been unfairly criticized their whole life, or they could be sabotaging themselves with negative self-talk. Even if that's not happening, the Bible tells us that every one of us, every believer, is constantly being accused day and night before God.
And that's why it's so important and so encouraging for a mentor just to offer a new perspective. Philippians 4:8 tells us to think on things that are true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, commendable, and excellent. All things that are worthy of praise. So as a mentor, once again, I'm helping them to focus on these positive things. Sometimes they just need to realize what's going right in their life or what they have to be thankful for.
Okay, a confidant, a translator. What's another role of an encouraging mentor?
Well, another way that's been really effective for me is just sharing from my life experience. And I think that that's core to what mentoring is all about. Like it says in 2 Corinthians 1:4, that God comforts us so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves have received from God. It's using my life experience to help them to walk through this difficult time with God's help and the help of a mentor and a friend.
We'd call that the role of an experienced one, mentor. Here, as the mentor, I'm just humbly recounting parts of my own story that you can relate to and draw wisdom from.
That's so true, and it really does require humility because it requires me being transparent about both my successes and my failures. And this is really a delicate area, Jim, because we don't want to one-up their stories, nor do we want to dominate the conversation. So once again, it's words carefully spoken at the right time.
You know, a great verse that I think of when I hear about this experienced one role of a mentor is 1 Thessalonians 2:8, where Paul says, having so fond an affection for you, we were well pleased to impart to you not only the gospel of God, but also our own lives, because you'd become very dear to us.
That's a great verse and a helpful reminder.
Okay, so I can encourage as a confidant, I can encourage as a translator, offering fresh perspective, and I can encourage as an experienced one, using my life story. What's another way I can encourage?
A fourth way that I've been able to encourage is by sharing ideas and practical insights, coming up with a plan for a budget, for example, so that the mentee doesn't fall into the same patterns as before. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Sometimes it's just a matter of learning a new skill.
And I would call that the role of a coach, mentor, just mentoring them by encouraging them with practical life skills. Listen to how author Robert Lewis summarizes this important role. Today, I know a lot of young couples who are frustrated with each other and their marriage. These young people don't realize that behind much of their quarrels is what they don't know, not what they're married to. They were never taught the basics. Now they're operating out of that ignorance. They've been given no resources, no gifting, no advantages to draw on.
Well, I'd have to agree with Robert. I know so many couples who have needed mentoring just because they haven't had the basics modeled to them.
Right, and having a coach in these basic life skills can be so very encouraging.
Well, one last way that I've learned to encourage is really exhorting them to consider the deeper heart issues rather than their surface circumstances or their issues.
I think exhort is the right word here. This is what we call the change agent role of a mentor. You might classically think of it as a discipler. And here I'm sort of working in step with the Holy Spirit to help bring that person to a place of deep personal self-examination and hopefully a new level of repentance and surrender.
There's just no way around it. Sometimes it's just a matter of turning ourselves and our lives over to Jesus Christ and His Lordship. So my role as a mentor is to guide them along that biblical path toward real life change and lasting joy.
Let's review all this training together, Gary. Being a mentor really isn't complicated. Finding my place means that I will pray for you, I'll listen to you, I'll ask you good questions, I will consider biblical truth with you, and I'll encourage you.
And as we've learned here today, there are a number of different roles that we play as we encourage our mentees. We can encourage them as a confidant, a translator, an experienced one, a coach, or a change agent.
Thank you so much for watching this training and for having a heart to mentor others. If you'd like to learn more about any of this content or to access the many resources Family Life has made available to you for one-to-one ministry, please go to familylife.com/mentoring. God bless.
Now go be a mentor.
What is a mentor? Is it you